Well, good afternoon. It is 6 o'clock. It is time for Bike Church. Happy Palm Sunday for those who are, hold on one second. For those who are keeping up, today we celebrated Palm Sunday in most of the churches around, according to how we're celebrating things, because next Sunday is Easter. This Sunday is Palm Sunday, and this is the Sunday when, this is the day when Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey, and the people spread palms, palms, because it's Palm Sunday. They spread palms for him to walk in, and that was his victorious entry. And it's called that for more than one reason. Not so much that everybody accepted him as King of the Jews, but he was going in as the victorious king. And there's a lot to it, but we'll have to discuss that another time. Just a couple of announcements. I'm going to read some now. At 7 o'clock, my friend Sharon Ledford is going to do a teaching on Passover, and she's going to be doing it live on Facebook. Sharon Ledford, Ledford, and she's going to be doing it, and I would love for you to watch. It's excellent. I plan on doing that. That's why I want to make sure I'm through here by then so I can watch her. If you've got some juice and a cracker to celebrate with, that's fine. If you do not, just watch, because I know you're going to learn a lot of things. I spoke to a young lady yesterday, and I realized that there are a lot of people who are not, they want to study the Bible, but they really don't. Because I spoke to someone this morning, they said, I don't know where to start. And I know that there are a lot of people who struggle with that. They don't know where to start. They don't know how to study the Bible, and I certainly do not consider myself a scholar in that, but I can make some suggestions that will help you. So sometime in the next day or two, besides my reading of the book of John, I'm going to do a different little live, and I'm just going to present some of the tools that I use and some ways to help you figure out for yourself what you need to be studying. There's lots of different ways to look at it, and again, I'm not saying that I'm any kind of a Bible scholar, because I'm not. I want to learn the Bible, and if you want to learn the Bible, I want you to be encouraged in doing that. So I will do that on my personal page, but of course it'll be public as well, so anybody can see it that wants to. I'm going to gather some, and it's not going to be long. It's just going to be some different tools that I use and some things. Everybody is not blessed to have a whole lot of study materials. I am blessed, but everybody is not, and most of it is not cheap. I was given a whole bunch, or Randy and I were given a whole bunch of materials. And so I'm blessed to be able to use that, and I would be glad to let you come and look at what I have. I don't know about letting you take it home, because we would talk about that. But anyway, but you're welcome to come here and use it anytime we can work out a time. But there are a lot of free tools out there, and that's what I want to talk to you about, some free tools that you can use that will help you in your Bible study. And but we'll talk about that one day this week. Right now, I want to read, and I'm in Matthew again. I want to read Matthew 24, and I'm going to read verse 45 to the end of the chapter, and then I'm going to read chapter 25 from verse 1 through verse 13. It's two different teachings that Jesus gave, and the first one is titled, let me remind y'all, Sharon Ledford at 7 o'clock. And if you will go to her page, you'll see when she goes live. That'll be excellent. I know there are a lot of sunrise services this next week on Sunday morning. I'm sure if you look, there'll be one that you can find if you would like to go. It's tough to get up early enough to be at a church at sunrise, 6 or 6:30. It's tough to do that, because you don't want to feel like you crawl out of bed and go in your pajamas. You want to feel like you get a little bit ready. But it's worth it. They're great services. And then, of course, just regular church services on Easter are always good, because usually there's a lot of visitors, and you can see new people and encourage them, and it's always a good message. So that's a good time to go to church as well. hold on. Hope. That's enough. So there are a lot of good opportunities this week. I believe there are some different services going on this week at night. You'll just need to look on, I'm sure the churches that are doing things like that are posting on Facebook. Just look and see. If I find some, I will share them on my page. So you can see where they are. Just little extra things that you can go to that may give you a renewed drive to want to go to church and be the church and be in fellowship with other believers and be in a good relationship with other Christians and learn. Because that's why we go to church. We go to worship God and we go to learn. And yes, we can learn on our own, but I always learn more if I'm studying with somebody else. Because other people are going to see different things besides what I see. So that's why I like to do that. So without going any further, I'm going to read Matthew 24, verses 45 through 51. That's the first one. And it's titled, Faithful Service to Christ. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his master has put in charge of his household to give them food at the proper time? Blessed is that servant whom the master finds doing his job when he comes. Now, I don't know about y'all, but if I worked at a place and my boss is giving me something to do and he comes back and I'm not done and I'm standing around looking at my phone or talking or cutting up, not just taking a break, but acting like I'm through, always makes me feel bad. I want to be doing what my boss has asked me to do because he's the one that's paying me. And that's what it's saying. That's what it's saying. Blessed is that servant whom the master finds doing his job when he comes. Truly, I tell you, he will put him in charge of all his possessions. But if that wicked servant says in his heart, my master is delayed, and starts to beat his fellow servants, and eats and drinks with drunkards, that servant's master will come on a day he does not expect him, and at an hour he does not know. He will cut him to pieces, and assign him a place with the hypocrites, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. I don't want anybody having to get a hold of me like that. I want to be doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And if you're not sure what your job is, let's sit down and talk and see if we can't figure it out. Because I'm not saying I know, but I can help you figure it out. Okay. And then the second thing I want to read is Matthew 25, and it's the parable of the 10 virgins. And that is chapter 25, verse 1 through 13. At that time, the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the groom. 5 of them were foolish and 5 were wise. When the foolish took their lamps, they didn't take oil with them, but the wise ones took oil in their flask with their lamps. When the groom was delayed, they all became drowsy and fell asleep. In the middle of the night, there was a shout, "Here's the groom, come out to meet him." Okay, now let me go back and talk about that a little bit. Back in those times, a young man wanted to marry a young woman, and the proceedings were worked out between the families. I don't know exactly how, but I know that the parents were involved, and the young man and the young woman are engaged. The young woman goes and stays at her parents' house and does what she's supposed to be doing. She's learning about taking care of a household from her mama, maybe her older sisters. She is working and doing things. She's probably preparing things for her upcoming wedding and marriage and own household. I don't know about it was I graduated in 1977. And when one of us would get engaged, our friends, family members would throw us showers, different kinds. There might be a kitchen shower. You might get just a miscellaneous shower. You might have 4 or 5 showers. And by the time things were over, you had all kind of things for your house. You had bed sheets, you had towels and bathcloths. You might have pots and pans. Might have a coffee maker, you might just all kind of things. There's no telling. And then family members might give you some of their used things. Didn't bother us a bit. We were tickled to get Aunt so-and-so's cookware. If she was going to upgrade and gave us the old set, man, that was great because we knew it was good, and we had something to cook on instead of having to go somewhere and buy cheap and then in 6 months buy it again. Family members' furniture or friends. Somebody might give us a chair. Somebody else might give us a love seat or a table or a lamp. And I don't guess any of us cared. I certainly was glad to get all the things that people helped. And then, of course, I've done that on. But the bride was kind of responsible for gathering that stuff. I mean, they would have the shower for the bride, and family members pitch in and all that kind of stuff. So the bride's getting ready. Well, meantime, the groom, and I'm back in the Bible times now, the groom goes back to his father's house and starts adding on rooms to his father's house for his new bride. And he would have to work, and his father would supervise. He would come out and look and say, now, son, that room's not going to be big enough. You need to make it a little bit bigger, or it's not squared up, or the roof has got a spot there that's going to leak. You've got to fix that. It had to meet the groom's father's inspection. And when that groom's father said, okay, buddy, everything is ready, you can go get your bride, the groom didn't know, but the groom's father knew when things were ready. Because no man wanted to bring a new bride into his family home and be embarrassed because the place wasn't ready. So he made sure that his son made everything as perfect as it could be to welcome that new bride, because she was going to be the mother of his grandchildren. And so the groom's father is making sure that everything is just like it's supposed to be. Well, guess what? That's where Jesus is now, getting our place ready. And when his father looks at it and says, son, it's done, you can go get them, then he'll come. So that's what this is talking about. They knew it was close. They knew that it was close. So all these virgins, bridesmaids, so to speak, are sitting on the outside of the gathering place, and they're sitting there with their lamps, and it gets late. Some of them don't have extra oil. Well, they get tired and they go to sleep, but they're sitting there with their lamps. Well, when somebody shouts, here comes the groom, everybody wakes up, and some of the lamps have gone out. So then this is where it comes in. Verse 6, in the middle of the night, there was a shout, here's the groom, come out to meet him. Well, everybody would go out and meet the groom and escort him in to get the bride. And then however that procession, because I've not studied that a lot, but he would go in and get her, and people would help them carry all their things to the new home. But these virgins were there as kind of like bridesmaids. Like I said, they were to escort the bride and be her cheering section, be happy for her. Verse 7, then all the virgins got up and trimmed their lamps. Think of oil lamps like we used to have, where you had to trim the wick to make sure that the light was as bright as it was supposed to be. The foolish ones said to the wise ones, give us some of your oil because our lamps are going out. Now, I've heard people talk about that wasn't very nice for the others not to share, but now here's the thing. Every one of those girls knew what was coming. They knew that they might have to sit there all night. They knew that they should be taking extra oil, but they were lazy. They were lazy, and they thought, well, I'll just depend on somebody else. Well, that's not what happened. The wise ones answered, no, there won't be enough for us and for you. Go instead to those who sell oil and buy some for yourselves. Well, guess what? There might not be a place open that was selling oil at that time of the night. Verse 10, when they had gone to buy some, or gone to go find some place to buy, the groom arrived, and those who were ready went in with him to the wedding banquet, and the door was shut. Well, after the door's shut, nobody else can come in, because they're not going to let just random people come to a wedding banquet that were not invited. Later, the rest of the virgins also came and said, Master, Master, open up for us. He replied, truly I tell you, I don't know you. I mean, he was thinking everybody's inside that's supposed to be. Therefore, be alert, because you don't know either the day or the hour. Now, at the very beginning of this says, at that time, the kingdom of heaven will be like. It's going to be like that. Some people are going to think they're ready to go, and they're not going to be ready to go. And some people will be ready to go. Now, how are we going to be ready? Obviously, I don't think God is really physically expecting us to be toting a lamp and a bucket of oil. But our oil is the Holy Spirit. We need to make sure that we are where we're supposed to be in our relationship with Jesus, so that he doesn't say, I don't know who you are. you might have gotten out and done this and done that in my name, but I don't know you. I don't know who you are, and you really don't know who I am. I can remember when my youngest daughter was little, a teenager, young teenager, and there were people on TV, singers or actors or whatever, and I did the same thing. I'm sure all of us, especially girls, did. Oh, I'm just in love with so-and-so, the latest actor or the latest singer. Well, my mama explained to me, I explained to my daughter, I'm sure most all of us did. Somebody told us, listen, you like that person, you admire them, you enjoy listening to their music, but you don't really love them because you don't know them. You can't love somebody that you don't know, because you may think you do, but you get to know them and you realize they're not the person you thought they were. And they wouldn't know you. I mean, I enjoy watching Tom Selleck, but I don't love him, and he certainly doesn't know who I am. If we were to walk up to the same place, he wouldn't have any more idea who I am than anybody. I mean, any famous person, because we've never met. So, and that's the way it is. There are people who will proclaim to be Christians, and they may fool all of us, but they're not fooling Jesus. And he's the one that counts. He's the one that's going to say, yes, you can come in, or no, you can't. I don't know you, or I do know you. I want Jesus to know me because I want to know him. And I would encourage y'all to do the same thing. And how do you know him? How do you know Jesus? Well, you study his word. You study what he is. You try to be close to him. You try to be obedient when he asks you to do things. He's not going to ask us to do anything that is wrong. And he's not going to ask us to do anything that we can't do without his help. So I would encourage you, this week would be a good week to find out for sure that you know Jesus and that he knows you. If you're not sure and you want to talk, I'll be glad to talk to you. You can get me on Messenger. You can text me. You can email me. You can call me if you want to, if you've got my number. If you don't have my number, send me a Facebook message and I'll send you my number. And we can talk on the phone, or I'll meet you somewhere. We'll go have a glass of tea at the Chicken Shack, or a cup of coffee at Miss Marcy's, or wherever you want to meet. We'll meet somewhere and sit down and talk. I want you to know who Jesus is, and I want him to know you. There is not a person I can think of that I hate so bad I want them to go to hell. Not anybody. There's some people that I don't like, but I sure don't wish them in hell. And I certainly don't want the people I know and love to go to hell. So, saying that, that's what I wanted to talk to y'all about tonight. Don't forget, Sharon Ledford is doing Passover meal and teaching at 7 o'clock. And just join in the best the way that you can. I think you'll really enjoy it. I think it may even inspire you to want to dig a little bit deeper in who Jesus is and how we're supposed to be doing what we're doing. Anyway, love y'all. Be watching for the chapter readings of John on my page, Beth McDaniel Rogers, and be watching for the Bible study materials that I was going to tell you. I'll be making a list so I can make sure I tell y'all. I'm not going to load you up, but there's several good ones that will be great places to start. And then as you can work on other things. But anyway, I hope y'all have a great week. I hope y'all have a good evening tonight. Be careful. The wind is supposed to be up tomorrow. And then all day Tuesday we're having rain. So be prepared for those things. I will talk to you soon.